Alright, Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, how are you today?
Hi.
Very good, very good. Alright, today we're looking at an important topic in writing, in academic writing, and this has to do with punctuation, or correctly punctuate your sentences. So as you know, punctuation is very important. It is like signposts, okay? It's like traffic lights. Alright, every punctuation, for example, a comma or a colon or a semicolon, has or sends the reader a message that this is something that we need to stop, it is something to introduce something, or to pause momentarily for something else, and so on. So punctuation in general is very important, and today we're looking at rules for using commas, rules for using colon, and rules for using semicolon. First, when do I use a comma? What are the different uses of comma? All right, yes, please.
After introductory words.
Okay, after introductory words, for example. Another thing is before, we talked about this, is before, yes, please. Compound sentences joining two sentences, two independent clauses. Very nice. So let's very quickly go over them and do some exercises on this topic. So the first thing is using the comma after introductory words or after introductory phrases. For instance, during the summer of 1999, comma, we visited Spain. Or we can say, unfortunately, comma, we did not speak Spanish. Or finally, comma, we arrived at our hotel. So after introductory words, introductory phrases, words signals such as time signals, for example, or listing signals, first, second, third, in addition, moreover, these ones we use a comma immediately after this word or this phrase. The second rule is something we talked about before, which is before coordinating conjunctions, these fanboys. We talked about this. We are bringing sandwiches, comma, and Tom is bringing soft drinks to the picnic. All right. Or another example, we don't need to bring raincoats, comma, for the sun is shining brightly. So after, or before, sorry, fanboys coordinating conjunctions, we use a comma. A third rule for using comma is that we use it after a dependent clause. For instance, when they begin a sentence. For example, although I was sick, comma, I went to my classes. Or because it was raining, comma, the game was cancelled. So after dependent clause, we use when they begin a sentence. And number 4, and this is something new, to separate certain phrases from the rest of the sentence. Let's say, if there is some extra information, we sort of separate it from the rest of the sentence by using a comma at the beginning and comma at the end of this extra information. For example, let's look at this example. Malaria, once a widespread disease, comma, comma. This is, we could consider it as an extra information, so we sort of separate it from the rest of the sentence by commas. Or, Mr. Obama, the president, this is something called a positive or sort of extra information. We put it between commas. Or the Amazon, the second largest river, comma, comma, is 4,000 miles long. So this is considered extra information, so we sort of separate it from the rest of the sentence by using a comma. Number 5 is something similar, which is to separate extra information adjective clauses. For example, the Nile, which is the longest river in the world, comma, comma, is 4,160 miles long. Notice that this is, we consider it it's an adjective clause, but it's sort of not necessary. Okay, we'll talk about it later. That is sort of called non-restrictive, non-defining clause. We use a comma to separate it from the main sentence. All right, or we can say, my new computer, which I bought yesterday, comma, comma, stopped working today. So adjective clauses considered extra information, that is to say non-essential information to the sentence. We sort of separate it by using commas. All right? And finally, this is something that I'm sure that you will know, to separate elements in a series of things, okay? In a list of things. When we are listing a number of things, we separate each one of these items by using a comma. For example, the English professor adjusted her glasses, comma, arranged her notes, comma, greeted the students, comma, and began her lecture. Or the other way, her room was spooky, cold, comma, cold, comma, dark, comma, and dirty. So these are, we separate the elements in a series with using a comma before each one of these items. This is clear? So we have 6 rules, generally very important 6 rules that we can use to for using commas, in other words. For example, after introductory words, before fan voice coordinating conjunctions, after dependent clause, to separate extra information, to separate adjective clause extra information, and finally number 6, to separate elements in a series. Okay, is this clear? Alright, let's apply these 6 rules to these sentences. Just consider these ones and try to know where or to use commas where necessary. Alright? Just very quickly read these ones and use commas where necessary. Alright, let's see the first one. Yes, please, here.
Oil, which is lighter than water, is rises to the surface, which is lighter than
Very nice. Oil, which is lighter than water, rises to the surface. Alright? So this is sort of extra information, adjective clause, not essential information, and therefore we separated it from the rest of the sentence by using commas. Yes, please. Number 2.
Rice is a word with many meanings, comma, and some of them are
Very nice. And some of them. Why did you use a comma here before and?
Conjunction.
It's a coordinating conjunctions. One of the fanboys, we have an independent clause and another independent clause, and we use a comma before them. Number 3.
After surviving this hardship, comma, my friend felt relieved.
Very nice. So after surviving this hardship, my friend felt relieved. All right. So again, we have a dependent clause, an abbreviated dependent clause, and then we have a comma at the end of this dependent clause. Number 4.
Yes.
Glamour. Yes, please.
Glamour, the women's fashion magazine, has recently sold
Millions of copies.
The woman fashion magazine.
Very nice. So we have
Extra information.
very nice. Why is it this?
Extra information.
Because it's considered sort of an extra information, and therefore we separated it from the main clause. The main sentence is Glamour sold or has sold millions of copies. All right. Number 5. Number 5. Yes, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Ali, my parents' best friends, sat in front of us at the football game. My parents' best
Very nice. So Mr. and Mrs. Ali, my parents' best friends. Again, this is extra information, and therefore we separated it from the rest of the sentence. Let's continue the rest of these sentences and try to put commas where necessary. Yes, please. All right. Okay. Yes, please. Number 6.
To get tickets for this movie.
Comma. Very nice. To get tickets for this movie,
Comma.
you have to order 3 months in advance. This is sort of an introductory phrase, an introductory infinitive phrase, and therefore we use the comma. Yes, please.
Chris didn't see how he could organize, right, comma, and
edit his paper in only 2 hours. So, very nice. Chris didn't see how he could organize, comma, write, comma, and edit this paper. So we have a list of items, and therefore we separated them by using commas. Yes, then.
Dolphin Islands, located off the coast of the Alabama, is a favorite
spot for fishing.
Locate.
Very nice. Located off the coast of Alabama. So, very nice. Dolphin Island, comma, located off the coast of Alabama. So this is sort of extra information. Is a good spot, is a favorite spot for fishing. Okay, so extra information. Yes, please.
Mark Adam, my cousin, hopes to graduate from law schools in 2 years. My cousin.
My cousin. So Mark Adam, my cousin. All right. Again, extra information. And finally, please.
Jam, flour,
Sugar. Very nice. So the recipe needed jam, comma, flour, sugar, fruit, eggs, ketchup, and baking powder. So we have a list of things, a list of items, and therefore we use commas for them. All right? Very nice. So now let's look at using colons. When do I use a colon? All right? It's very common to use colons, but sometimes people don't know how to when to use colons. There are 2 simple rules that we need to remember whenever we use a colon. All right, a colon is often used to introduce a list of items. So this is the first common use of the colons. So is to introduce a list of items. For example, you will need to bring 3 things to the party. Colon. What do I need to bring? Some food, something to drink, and a small gift for the hostess. Here I use the colon to introduce the list of items. Okay? For example, a second sentence. In the bag were the following. Colon. So here I'm again introducing a list of things. Alright? Scissors, a hairbrush, and her address book. Alright? And a third example. These are my favorite breakfast meals. Colon. Okay? Cornflakes, scrambled eggs, and peanut butter toast, for example. So what we have here is that I use a colon to introduce a list of items. Alright? A second use is also for introducing, but this time I am introducing an idea, an explanation, or a definition. Okay? For example, I'll tell you what I am going to do. Colon. I am going to quit. Here I am introducing an idea or introducing an explanation. Okay? A second example. These are the things I look for in a new house. I'm introducing an idea here. What are they? Modern, spacious, and luxurious sort of kind of a new house, for example. Or we have to stop doing these harmful things. Colon. What are they? Polluting the rivers, burning fossil fuels, and using our private cars, for example. Or finally, elephant. Noun, colon, a large grey mammal found in Africa and India. What we have here is clearly a definition, and I introduce this definition by using a comma. So, commas are used for 2 things: to introduce a list of items, or to introduce an explanation, an idea, or a definition. Is this clear?
Yes.
Very nice. Alright, now let's move on to talk about using semicolons. When do I use a semicolon? Do you remember? We talked about this. When we generally introduce 2 closely independent ideas, so dependent clauses which are closely related in meaning, So we use a semicolon. For example, Mary drives a Mercedes, semicolon. Joanne drives a Toyota. So we have two independent clauses, and we use a semicolon to join them because the meaning is closely related.
Yes.
These two independent clauses are closely related in meaning. For example, he ate 6 sandwiches, semicolon. He also got a stomachache. Or Tom always slept with the lights on, semicolon. He was afraid of the dark. So the first use is whenever I have two independent clauses which are related in meaning, we use, or I can use a semicolon. A second use is we have something called conjunctive adverbs, the likes of however, furthermore, moreover, nevertheless, as a result, on the other hand, for example, for instance, and so on. These are called conjunctive adverbs. Whenever I use them, especially to join two sentences, I use a semicolon at the beginning and a comma afterwards. For example, he was very ill, semicolon, therefore, comma. He decided to take the day off. He was poor, semicolon, however, comma, he left happily. So these conjunctive adverbs are generally used, we use a semicolon with them before them. Okay? Semicolon, therefore, comma, semicolon, however, comma, and so on. Is this clear?
Yes.
So two simple uses for semicolons. Okay? Alright. Now let's do this exercise, trying to apply all this information on these 5 sentences. Please punctuate where necessary. You can put a semicolon or a colon or a comma where necessary, and also full stops and capital letters. Please go ahead. All right, are we done? Yes, please.
Professor Smith, capital letter P.
Okay, Professor Smith is a conference. Semicolon. Very nice. Comma. However, doctor. Is that right? Yes. John's. Who? Yes. Comma. Who is the president? Will be here. Very nice. Very nice. Very good. All right. Yes, please. All right. So what we see here is a capital letter, however, semicolon, comma, and who is the president. So we consider it is as essential information, and therefore separating them with using commas. Yes, please.
My capital letter.
My favorite. Very nice. Mine is capitalized. Yes, go ahead.
Include going to movies, comma.
That is include going to movies, comma, reading novels, comma, and participating in sports. Do you think we need a colon after include? Actually, there is no need for it. There is no need for it. Okay, but if I said my favorite hobbies without the word include, we can use a comma. But since we have the main verb here, there is no need for a colon. All right. So my favorite hobbies include going to the movies, comma, reading novels, comma, and participating in sport. There is no need for a colon after include. Okay? Yes. Because we have the essential verb, we have the main verb here. Yes, please.
The future of our wild animal is
uncertain. Alright, so the future, T is capitalized.
Yes, for example, we put the semicolon.
Very good. So, semicolon, for example, illegal shooting and chemical poisoning threaten the bald eagle, for example, as in have a full stop. Don't forget the full stop. Yes, please.
Some people feel that grades are unnecessary, others feel grades motivate students. Some capital letter.
Okay, some is capitalized.
And then we have comma.
After where?
Before others.
No, we don't use a comma here. That would be a comma splice. We have a semicolon. A semicolon. Okay, two sentences are closely related in meaning. We use a semicolon between them. So some people feel that grades are necessary, semicolon. Others feel that grades motivate students. And number 5, advertising is essential. Yes, please.
Advertising
A is capitalized.
is essential to free
Enterprise system. Yet. Very nice. We have a comma because it's one of those fan boys. Yet it can sometimes be very annoying, and we have a full stop. Okay. Let's continue the remaining sentences. All right. And the same thing. Punctuate where necessary. Yes, please. Very quickly, please. circulation. مكتب مين المكتب اللي يكون جالس عند مكتب؟ All right, let's see. Number 6. Yes, please.
The library offers many special services that capitalize.
Very nice. So T is the library, is the beginning of the sentence.
Comma.
Service is comma or
Colon.
actually a colon. Why is it a colon here? Because I'm introducing the list of things. For example, what are these special services? The Student Learning Center, comma, the Phono Record Library, comma, and
Group study rooms.
the group study rooms, and we have full stop. So I use the colon here because I am introducing the list of the items, the list of things. So I used a colon. Yes, Hima, please. So T, yes, of course. Very nice, comma. You should follow these. Okay, you should follow these procedures.
Colon.
Very nice. Okay. Write down the call number of the book. Comma. Find. Very nice. Bring it to the circulation. Yes. Fill out the card. Comma and show your ID. All right. So here to check a book out of the library, comma, you should follow these procedures. Colon. What are they? These are the procedures that you have to follow. Number 8. I have only one thing to say. Yes, please.
I have only one thing to say to you, colon.
Colon. Very nice. Get off my land. So, very nice. I have only one thing to say to you. Colon. Get off. Why is it? Why did you use colon here? Because I'm introducing an idea or an explanation. I have one thing to say to you. What is that? Colon. Get off my land. Leave my land. All right? Full stop. All right? So I use a colon here because I'm introducing an idea in the form of an explanation. 9. Even. Yes, Ima, please.
Even if you fail, at least you tried and
You are very nice. So even capitalized. Even if you fail, comma. Dependent clause. At least you tried and you are.
Apostrophe.
Okay, very nice. At least you tried and you are a better person for it. So even if you fail, comma, because it's a dependent clause, at least you tried, comma, and you are a better person for it. A full stop. Okay, is this clear? Alright, so what we've done so far is looking at different rules for using commas, colons, and semicolons. Now we come to the rather difficult exercise, and this is the last exercise. Please very quickly read this paragraph. And what I'd like you is to use commas, colons, semicolons, and full stops where necessary. All right. In other words, punctuate this paragraph. Okay. All right, let's start with the, yes please.
Australia, which is the home of many unusual animals, is the
home
of kangaroos.
of the kangaroo.
Australia,
which is the home of many unusual animals, comma, yes,
after kangaroos,
is the home of the kangaroo. Very nice. Now, who would like to continue? All right, yes please.
Kangaroos are animals that have
Pockets or pouches? Alright, kangaroos are animals that have pockets or pouches. Full stop. Alright, just we finished the idea and we have a full stop. And after that, tell it please.
Capitalize.
A kangaroo baby,
Which is only about the size of the little bird, comma.
when it is born. Okay, see how it can be confusing. Alright, let's see. I would like to try again. Alright, what you've done is good, but we need just to complete the sentence.
kangaroo baby, comma,
Yes, which is
only about the size of a little bird.
when it is born. No full stops. Okay, let's read it now. A kangaroo baby, which is the only about the size of a little bird, when it is born, comma, lives in its mother's pouch until its back and legs have grown strong. See, now it is a complete idea. Now, does it make sense? It does actually now makes sense. Actually makes sense. All right. So a kangaroo baby, which is about the size of a little bird, when it is born, this is the which clause, the adjective clause, lives in its mother pouch until its legs and back have grown strong. Who would like to continue? Yes, please. Iman, please.
Kangaroos, comma, which have very long legs, comma,
Very nice. Can
make
fierce kicks to other animals. Full stop. Okay. Kangaroos, which have very long legs, comma, can make fierce kicks to other animals. And finally, other animals. Yes, other animals. Which
Babies in pouches.
in pouches are, comma, are what? Possums, comma, wombats, comma, and koalas. Alright, so the last sentence, other animals, comma, which rear their babies in pouches, comma, this is the adjective clause, are possums, comma, wombats, and koalas. So what we see here are lots of commas, and as you can see, we have to be very careful about using punctuation marks because it can sometimes be confusing to the reader if we misplaced one comma with a full stop or one comma with a semicolon or a colon and so on. Okay? Does anyone have any question? Alright, very nice. So just go over what we've done today. Just do some revisions and I'll see you next time, inshallah. Thank you very much.